On the 24th of May 2025, I foolishly, although I don't agree with that because I did learn a fair bit, I foolishly decided to do a fracking long hike, 39.7 kilometers long, 9 hours and 32 minutes, with an elevation gain of 2,087 meters. Now, I decided to do this hike in the De Aguilar National Park, just to the northwest of Brisbane. In fact, the starting point of this hike was only 7-minute drive from where I am living. Now, I'll show you this hike in a second. In fact, you can actually get access to this hike through AllTrails. It's called the South De Aguilar National Park Loop. It's a hike actually put in there myself. Now, it's not this particular hike in AllTrails is not exactly the hike I actually did do. There was a slight adjustment because there was about 40 school kids ahead of me, and I decided to go another way. Now, if I had my time again, I'll also change another section of this hike because there was a really bad section, a really awful section near Gold Creek Reservoir. I forget what the hike was called, Black Cockatoo Trail or something, right in there. It was an awful bit of the hike. It was almost impossible to find the start of that particular trail. And even the end of the trail just pops out at South Boundary Road, anonymously, it seems like. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'll briefly go through the route, and then more importantly, I'll talk about the things I've learned. Now, the reason I decided to do this hike was because I'm going on this hiking trip to America and Canada in September, October, and I'll be doing quite a few long hikes there, and I just wanted to test myself. Now, I do talk about the reasons why I decided to do this hike during this particular hike. I actually recorded myself speaking in little segments, and in fact, those little segments amounted to about 45 minutes. Yes, 45 minutes of me just talking about this particular hike, what I'm doing, what I'm saying, that sort of thing. So that is the reason why this particular video is so long. So I'll go through the path I took, the trails I took, and then I'll also briefly discuss the things I have learned, which is actually another reason why I did this hike. Sort of like a test of myself, a test of what I need to take and not take, need to do and not do. Okay, so let's have a look at the route I took. This is from Strava. So you probably also look at this hike I took just in Strava. So pace 14.25 minutes per kilometer, better than I anticipated. I was anticipating 15-minute Ks. One of the more strenuous things I've ever done in my life, 55,000 steps. And it says here, historic relative effort 299. Now, the other thing I should mention is I actually went and did a half marathon run on Friday. So I really wanted to test myself over a couple of days, really want to build up my endurance for my hiking holiday. Okay, so this is the path I took, starting just below Camp Mountain. Yeah, again, 7-kilometer drive from where I live. So I live just here. Where is it? Here, just here. So very short drive from where I live. The first thing I had to decide was whether to go clockwise or anti-clockwise or counterclockwise. And in the end, I decided to go counterclockwise. Now, the smartest thing I did was actually put the hike into my watch, my Garmin watch. That was really helpful. Something I did learn on my previous hiking trips. But the only problem was in Garmin, the hike was the opposite direction. So it was not used in some regards because it will tell you how long you got to go, and I didn't have used to that. It also, the watch was telling me on occasion I was going in the wrong direction, that sort of thing. So the first thing I did was climb up Camp Mountain, and then I went along Mount Nebo Road for about 10 kilometers. I missed the trail off Mount Nebo Road, and then I went along another trail called BS Track. For a little bit of time, it did look like it was going to be a BS Track for a very short period of time, but it was okay trail in the end. Got to a elevation peak of 526 meters when I went onto another road or track called Augie's Road. Follow that for a while. In fact, there was a really long downhill bit at that point. I think it was, I went downhill for about 5 kilometers. And one of the reasons I wanted to go in a clockwise direction was to go up this section. I'm sort of glad I didn't do it. I changed my underwear run point. Where was it? Somewhere in between this really sharp turn and a creek here on Creek Road. I changed my underwear, changed into some Step 1 sports underwear, really comfortable, and that was a help because I was getting a bit of chafing problem at that point. There was a nice uphill section, ran into some people near the top of this uphill section. And then, funny enough, over the next would have been maybe 3 to 4 kilometers, I ran into another 5 or so groups of people. And then after I ran into the last group of people, I don't remember exactly where, it would have been here. Would have been here, I think. It was definitely at an intersection. After I ran into the last group of people, that was it for a longest time. Then I followed Gold Creek Boundary Break, heading towards Gold Creek Reservoir. Took a while. It was a fairly boring track at this point. I've been along this track before. It is fairly boring for the longest time. Ooh, the longest time. Billy Joel. So actually listening to some podcasts along there. Then I turned off Gold Creek Boundary Break onto Leahy's Break. Went down that towards Gold Creek Reservoir, and then the worst part of the hike. You can see in Strava me just wandering around, lost. In the video after this, you'll see a runner go past me, and that was at this point. I also ran into 2 really sweet old women who are walking the Gold Creek Reservoir walking track loop, and I had no idea where to go. I was going, where is my trail? Where is my trail? I eventually found it because thanks to my watch, and this was the worst trail in history. Black Cockatoo track. Do not go up this track. It was awful. Absolutely awful. In fact, it took me about 30 minutes to go up this track, and the length of this track was about 1 kilometer. It was awful, terrible. And then funnily enough, when I finally got onto South Boundary Road, I went in the wrong direction. So I had to backtrack. I followed South Boundary Road. I was supposed to follow South Boundary Road all the way to Holman's Break, but I saw, as I got to the intersection of South Boundary and Centre Road, there was heaps of kids ahead. I went, no way, I'm going to do that. So I went down Centre Road, and at that point I knew exactly where I was because I've been on this hike a lot. So South Boundary Road, Centre Road, to Bellbird Grove, been on this hike a lot. At this point in time, starting to get a little bit of cramping issues, mostly when I was trying to go uphill. In fact, uphill sections were horrendous, horrible. There must have been an accident along Mount Nebo Road, just, I think, at this little turn here. I did see or go past an ambulance. In fact, I did go off Nebo Road Break at this point. You can just see it go off it. And the main reason behind that is because there's a really steep up and downhill section from Nebo Road Break to I go onto Holman's Break, and I just wanted to miss that section because my legs were filling at that point. Went down Bellbird Grove, went past another ambulance at this point. I heard a lot of sirens at this point, so there must have been some sort of accident. I actually did have a look to see if there was any posts of the accident on Facebook or anything like that, and there was nothing. Like the Queensland emergency, there was nothing. So at least it wasn't a fatality or anything like that. And then finally got to Bellbird Grove, another long uphill section. Would seem long hill. It seemed long, but there was about 122 meters of elevation gain. And finally got back to the car. So 9 hours and 30 minutes later. Okay, so some of the things I did learn on this hike, and then what I'm going to do moving forward. Now, the first thing, cramping. Now, typically cramping occurs because a lack of hydrolytes. So you're losing salt as you sweat, and you need more hydrolytes. And I did not take any hydrolytes. So that is one thing I'm going to do on longer hikes is make sure I do have a hydrolyte drink. Now, cramping continued for a few hours after the hike. I did take a hydrolyte when I got home. Cramping has come to an end. I was a little bit fearful that I'd have cramps all through the night. No, they finished within the first 2 hours of me finishing the hike. So that is one thing I've learned. Make sure you take hydrolytes. Now, not all cramping eventuates because of lack of hydrolytes, but research I've seen suggests about 60 to 70% of cramping is because of lack of salts in your system. Thighs and glutes. Now, the muscles that hurt for me right now, thighs and glutes. Now, thighs and glutes are the strongest muscles, the biggest muscles. So they're the muscles you do use when you go uphill. So it's no surprise they hurt. And it's good they are hurting a little bit because that means they're adapting. And that's exactly what I want to do. Now, I did record all the video on my phone. I am not going to do that on my hiking trip. So more than likely, I will buy a GoPro. There's a few reasons behind that. My power on this particular hike on the phone fell from 84% to 22%. Yes, another little rookie mistake. My phone was not 100% powered when I started the hike. And I wouldn't say I regretted that, but make sure fully powered your phone is, and I think using a GoPro would be a little bit better as well. So I will be buying a GoPro, also probably a GoPro stick. The other thing I should mention is my hand was cramping as well, and I have a feeling the reason my hand was cramping was because I had my phone in that hand and recording. So that's another reason why I wanted to buy a GoPro. Water. Okay, so I took way more food than I really needed, and I probably want to take a little bit more food and, of course, hydrolytes. So that's one thing I've learned. Take a little bit more extra water. Now, I was not dehydrated at the end of the hike. Was not dehydrated. So no dehydration symptoms or anything like that. So I definitely took enough water for that. So I drank about 2 liters on the hike, but I think I just want to take a little bit of extra water. Just a little bit, not much. So maybe 2.5 liters would be okay. The other thing I should also mention is the conditions on this hike. It was quite warm in the afternoon. So temperatures got to probably about 26, 27. And I don't think I'd have to deal with that sort of heat in America, Canada, because most of the hiking will be done at higher elevations. Another really interesting thing, my appetite at the end, in fact, the first 2 or 3 hours when I was getting cramping, my appetite was really low. I actually did buy 2 burgers, a small burger and a larger burger. I ate the small burger, but even when I was eating the small burger, I was thinking, I don't really feel like eating this burger. I started eating the bigger burger, and I just said, why bother finishing it? So I just put it away, and I ate it about 3 or 4 hours later. In fact, it was a really good burger after that, because I was a little bit hungry at that point. But yeah, really low appetite for about 2 or 3 hours after the hike, which was interesting. Hiking poles. I'm not a fan of hiking poles. So the first 30 to 33 kilometers of the hike, I really didn't feel the need of any hiking poles. But the last 2 uphill sections, were Center Road. So this little uphill section, and then going towards the car, there was another uphill section here. Both those times I was thinking, you know what would be really beneficial right now is having some hiking pole support. So I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, I might buy some hiking poles just in case I do need it, and it could act as support. But otherwise, I just don't like hiking with hiking poles. I just don't like it. And finally, the part of the body that hurts the most is not the thighs, not the glutes. It is actually the bottom of my feet. And the reason the bottom of my feet hurt is because even though I had hiking boots with some high tops, I thought that would alleviate the small little pebbles or rocks that enter into your boot when you're hiking. And because they enter into your boot, and they're on the bottom of your feet, they do scruff up your feet a little bit. So I did stop quite a few times to take off my shoes to get all those pebbles out. But I did not stop a lot because right now the bottom of my feet are scruffed up because of that. So I want to see and discover if there are any sort of stuff out there, equipment, that you can protect your feet from that sort of thing. So sort of put it at the top of your boots to protect your feet from entering or obtrusive little bits of pebbles and rocks, even little bits of twigs, that sort of thing. So I want to see if that sort of stuff exists. I have never thought of it before, and that's the whole reason I did this hike, to discover this sort of thing. Okay, so now enjoy, or maybe not enjoy, the next 45 minutes where I just talk about the hike. As I was doing, is starting to increase. 6:07 a.m. Brisbane, Saturday morning. I'm planning a fairly long hike, and I do have a question. My first decision, I suppose, is whether to go clockwise or counterclockwise. So that means either head towards Bellbird Grove that way, or go up Camp Mountain. So I do, or have planned this 37-kilometer D'Aguilar National Park hike. A few reasons I am doing this hike today. I'll talk about those reasons during the rest of this video, but first I have to make the decision, clockwise or counterclockwise. And I wanted to make the decision within the next minute, because I need to get a bit of a head start on, because I plan to start at 6 a.m. So I am falling behind by 8 minutes. Buyers, and apparently area closed to the public. I am going to ignore that at my own peril. At my own peril. Decided to go clockwise? No, counterclockwise. No, clockwise. No, counterclockwise, sorry. And I have summited at Camp Mountain. So it's on about 206 meters of ascent, current elevation 416 meters. There are a few lookout places at the top of Camp Mountain. I have no idea why it's closed. No sign of any works, no sign of any danger. I don't mind that, because on occasion you'll get teenagers parking up here to make out, that sort of thing. So this is one of the views towards Samford Valley from the top of this mountain. And the main reason I decided to go up Camp Mountain is because this is probably going to be the hardest part of the hike. It's you know, from I think it's about 200 meters up to 400 meters, and there's just a steady incline the whole way. I don't expect that much throughout the rest of this hike. And the other reason I decided to go this way is because most of the hikes I'm doing in the United States and Canada, you do go up straight away and then you come down, except Grand Canyon. So I wanted to replicate that as much as possible. So I'll go through the rest of the reasons I'm doing this hike, which is something I decided to do about 2 or 3 days ago, during the rest of this video. Don't overtake or pass going down Camp Mountain Road. So I actually am jogging right now because it is fairly steep here, and I suppose this is a good place to gain a little bit of time, I suppose. Debris or leaves and detritus or detritus, whatever you call it, on the road. So yeah, you can't drive up here because they have a little bit of a gate. You can walk up, can't drive up. And that was fairly obvious as soon as I started coming down the road, that they had closed the gate. And typically they do close this gate, or they might, I'm not actually absolutely sure, but a lot of times they will close the gate for the overnight periods for some reason, and I can check that in a second. The entrance has been closed for who knows how long. I'm assuming this is because of Tropical Cyclone Alfred and some damage, but have not seen any damage, although there was some trees almost across the road a bit further up. An entrance sign, D'Aguilar National Park. I did have to get help in how to pronounce D'Aguilar. So that's interesting. Of road where you have, or Mount Nebo Road, where you do have to follow the road to get to the path. So there's a trail that goes or follows Mount Nebo Road, and I'll be going on this trail for a little bit, but because it is Saturday morning, there are a lot of motorcyclists out. They love this particular road, so I have been told by my watch that I have to find the path to the trail. Take it back. I thought going up Camp Mountain would be the tougher bit, but I just finished an intense uphill bit. Oh shit, heart rate is pounding, and I'm pretty fit. So I think the grade was maybe 30-35% over 200 plus meters. It just kept on going, and that's why I'm out of breath. Did not expect this or that anyway. Now I have, oh, which way do I go? Do I go that way, or do I go that way? Which means I might stop here just to have a banana. I did bring a banana for breakfast.
2 muffins, 2 Cliff bars, 2 other muesli bars. Also, I brought along some Killer Pythons, Allen's Killer Pythons, as a backup, as a sort of a safety in case I do start feeling like I need a little bit of sugar, because on these sort of hikes, the best thing you can take, in my opinion, is a condensed energy stuff like a bar or a lolly. Anyway, so now I have to have a banana and decide which way to go. Thankfully, I have put the course on my Garmin, so I can just look at my watch to decide which way to go. More than likely, it's down to the right. It's down that way because it does follow, this track does follow Mount Nebo Road, which is just up the road there. Okay, so that's Mount Nebo Road, and then we just go off the side here. And I'm hearing motorcycles every few minutes. Just gone past the 1 hour mark and have gone 4 kilometers and 4.2 kilometers. Another little bit of an upgrade here. The one good thing is, looks like a tractor has gone through here, improving the trail, because the trail can get a bit dodgy at times with overgrowth, because we are literally in a rainforest right now. So on occasion they do have to come through here and clean it up. But yeah, I'm really happy with my progress, particularly because I've already gone up 330 meters. So that means I've already done, what's that, 1/7 of the elevation gain so far. Current elevation is 361 meters. Oh, there's another tropical cyclone coming. I think it is time to take this sign down, because that was over 2 months ago. 1 hour 30 minutes into my hike. I am so thankful I decided to wear my hiking boots, my trusted hiking boots, because still a lot of mud. Now we are moving towards, or heading towards, Mount Nebo, so this is a fairly wet area of the southeast Queensland. So not surprising that even though we haven't had rain for over a week, it's still quite muddy in locations. Now, so I've already gone 1 hour 32 minutes, have gone 6.7 kilometers, so definitely on track. In fact, I'm doing it a little bit faster than I expected, because I've already done 450 meters of elevation gain. So definitely on track. Now, why am I doing this hike? And I'll talk about that next time I speak to you. Gone over 2 hours of hiking, 8.8 kilometers done, and getting ready to hear another few bikes go past me, which is a common theme as I go parallel to Mount Nebo Road. I expected this. It's a Saturday, and as I said, motorcyclists love this particular road because it's so curvy. Anyway, really, I'm finding this hike fairly easy. They do say it's an advanced hike, well, hiking trail anyway. I'm finding it good. There have been some steep downhill bits, but no more really steep uphill bits. That's good. But I'm still gaining altitude. 559 meters ascended, and we just had a little bit of light rain, and I emphasize the word rain. There was a forecast for maybe some morning showers. This was not showers, this was light rain. Cloud bases are fairly high, maybe 10,000 feet or so. So yeah, light rain and not a lot. Quite nice, in fact. Okay, so why am I doing this hike? I am planning a trip to the United States in September, October. So it's over I think it's a 9-week period. And I'm planning to do a hike a day. So I have planned it, and I made sure that I could fit in one hike per day. Now, a few days ago, I discovered, because I've been going through all these hiking videos on YouTube, and a few days ago, it recommended me this hike, or this video that was titled Hardest Hike in the United States, and that intrigued me. Actually, it was the hardest day hike in the United States. That really intrigued me. So I just wanted to know where it was and why it would be considered the hardest. It's called Cactus to Clouds. It starts from Palm Springs. In fact, I think it's a museum at Palm Springs, and it goes from Palm Springs all the way up to one of the mountains there. I think it's San Juanita Mountain, elevation 11,000 feet. Yeah, so this hike has an elevation gain of 11,000 feet, 3,300 meters or something like that, 30 kilometers long. Now, you could do Cactus to Clouds, back to Cactus, but there is a tram up towards this peak, not exactly right on the peak, but near it. You do still have to go for a hike. So they do recommend that you go up and then take the tram down. But anyway, I was thinking to myself, could I do this hike? And yes, I could. And then, because I am flying into LA and out of LA, so I could either do this hike at the start or do this hike at the end. So if I do it at the end, it'd be like the start of November. And that might be ideal conditions, except for the possibility of some snow. Whoops, got to get my hand out of the way. So going through another muddy section. So this particular video and discovering this particular hike was the catalyst for me deciding to do this hike today. But there's other reasons as well that I think doing this hike would be beneficial. And I'm finding already the benefits of actually not only doing this hike, but just planning for this hike. Things that maybe I didn't bring along with me, or maybe, for instance, I put the trail into Garmin, but I'm doing the reverse of what the trail is in my Garmin, and it doesn't like that. So you got to make sure you do it in the right direction. It keeps saying I should go back, warning, warning, go back, going the wrong way, that sort of thing. So little things like that is one of the reasons why I decided to do this particular hike today. Now I'll talk about other reasons later in the video. We're going to turn off Mount Nebo Road and go down there. I completely missed it. I kept going until I got to the end of this trail, which is only about 200 meters up. And then I thought, oh, do I have to follow Mount Nebo Road? Oh wait, I can look at my watch. And I completely missed this particular turn off, and I can sort of understand why. Nothing much there. The other reason is it's a beautiful trail as well, and I was just focusing on the trail, not really realizing that's the way I've got to go. So this is 10.8 kilometers into the walk, 2 hours and 26 minutes done. Current pace is 13.3 minutes per kilometer, so definitely on the right time. Yeah, whatever. What's the best word there? My speed or pace is definitely better than I thought I'd be doing. So we're really now going into the national forest, national park, rainforest, that sort of thing. And I expect the trail to be a little bit more dodgy moving forward, as you probably can already see. Zero maintaining of this trail. I don't know if I'm going to like this. I thought it would be much better than this. But I can see the trail just up there. But I did expect a little bit better, so hopefully this does get a little bit better than now. Otherwise, I will turn around. So dark in here. This is a rainforest, without doubt. And sometimes when it becomes darker, it might be because the shower's coming, but blue sky up there. So the reason it's got dark is just because, yeah, it's dense bush here, or dense rainforest. And yeah, and the trail is really good right now. And I think the reason why there was that bad bit in the trail was just because a tree came down in the tropical cyclone. But otherwise, this trail, much better than the start, thankfully. The trail does cut across there, but as you can see, there is a tree downed. It looks fairly old as well. It's been down for a while. So yeah, obviously, and you can see lots of vines and that sort of thing. So obviously they don't maintain this trail much at all. Fortunately, you can just walk around it. So hopefully we don't have much more like that moving forward, but otherwise the trail is quite nice, and it's stunning. You just see palm trees up there. It's stunning walking through here, and probably the best thing is I doubt there's a person within a coulee of me. Not sure how far a coulee is, but I doubt I will see another person moving forward. Might see one or two once I get closer back to where I parked, but here I don't expect to see another person. People don't usually hike these things, and if they do, it's quite sparsely. And more than likely they're going to hike this towards the middle of the day. And as we are moving towards a creek, oh, wonderful, wonderful creek. This would be my second creek crossing. So just after I turned off Mount Nebo Road, there was a little creek. And this is absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous here. Uh, 2 hours 53 minutes in, 12.3 kilometers done, and another big log across the trail. Sissy's been here for a while as well, so maybe it fell during Tropical Cyclone Alfred, but easily handled this one. So all fine with this particular log falling across the trail. I'm assuming it's down here. A bit, nearly tripped over a few times, and the reason this is really steep is because, of course, I said course twice, is we've come to another beautiful creek here. Gorgeous creek. Oh, I'm not going to speak. I'll just let the sounds of the creek speak to you. Three hours in, 12.66 kilometers done. Definitely on pace. That was a little bit of a slower section, just because I stopped so many times, just standing sometimes and listening. So far I've only had one drink and a banana, so I might stop somewhere up ahead and have a muffin. Now I did probably overpack food, but better to overpack food than underpack. And the other very important thing is to pack high calorie food and light high calorie food. It's very important. So most of the weight in my backpack is just water, because you don't overpack food. And densely, what's the best way to say it? Calorie rich, dense food. Current elevation is 524 meters, and I think we have finished this trail, because all of a sudden we come up on another trail, and I'm assuming, and I don't make assumptions, I'm going that way. So let's have a check of the watch. And then of course we have that trail there, and then a trail there. I have a feeling I go up the moderate trail, South Boundary Road, Augies Road. Yeah, I think I do want to go Augies Road. I'm very happy they've got the names of the trails here, because I do know South Boundary Road, and I'm pretty sure I go up this one. This might be it. This might be elevation peak. 532 meters. Total ascent 882 meters so far, and you can see the distance and the time. Hopefully I won't have to do this again, because it just looks like it is at the top of something here, and I'm going down now. So hopefully this is the final. This is the highest I'm going to get in this particular hike segment. I mentioned earlier that once I get going and go over that creek, that we're going to see the landscape, or the foliage, or whatever you want to call it, really open up. It's just a different climate over this side of the ridge or the creek, and we definitely have seen that happen over the last few kilometers. Trail has really narrowed here, and on the right, oh, what a beautiful view. At the moment I'm on the middle of 3 ridges in the Aguilar National Park, and in between these ridges the valleys are quite distance below the top of the ridges. In fact, it's fairly steep down there. So I'm in the middle of the ridges right now. So that's a ridge I probably came along South Nebo Road, and then on the other side there's another ridge over there. That's probably to the west, I'm assuming. I don't think, I might have been on that ridge once before. I'm not sure if I've been on this ridge. I'm still on Augies Road, or what it's called, and again I have not seen a single person yet. I have seen horse prints. Yes, I've seen horse prints, classic horseshoes. I've been following those for about 5 kilometers so far. So horses do come along here, unless they're wild horses. That would be awesome, but I doubt it, because wild horses don't have horseshoes, do they? No, they don't. Now the trail has come to the edge of the ridge, and a little bit better views here, but not as good as I wish they could be. There might be some better views down there, but I've just noticed that the decline from this ridge is quite steep, very steep. So I'm very happy I don't have to walk up that sort of incline for a long distance, because that would be a fair bit of a hike, and I doubt I could do it. I can see some buildings through the trees. Don't know what they are, but that's interesting. Currently 4 hours into the hike. We've been on a very long downhill bit, and I know where this was because one of the reasons I wanted to actually go in the opposite direction was to go up this section, because it was really long. Anyway, so we are currently at, yep, there it is. Oh, a lot of shadows there. 4 hours, 16.8 kilometers, ascent 959 meters, current elevation 334, so still fairly high. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about another reason why I'm doing this hike. So I've planned all my hikes so far I'm going to do on my trip. At this point in time, about 70 hikes, but I'm going to whittle that down to maybe 66, 67, because there's a few things that I'm unsure about, including there is one hike I need to get a permit for, and I did plan to do that hike on a Saturday, so there's less chance I'll get a permit because they only issue 120. That's South Sister in Oregon, so there's a chance I might bring that forward to Friday, which means I won't be able to do these other two shorter hikes, which are at the lower end of my priority list. But the first hike I'm going to do when I get over there is called Cottonwood Lake. It's an acclimatization hike. It gets to about 9,000, 10,000 feet. And the reason I decided to do that hike first is because the next day, yes, the second hike I am doing is the longest hike of the trip, a 39-kilometer hike that hikes into Kings Canyon from the east. You can drive into King Canyon National Park from the west, but this is called Kearsarge Lake and Kear Lake, going over two mountain passes. I've seen video and photos of this particular hike, and I just had to do it. It was actually one of the first hikes I decided to do. So this hike's 39 kilometers, and the thing I've been questioning is whether I could do all 39 kilometers in a day. And that is why one of the reasons I decided to do this hike, just to test out whether I could do that sort of hike in one day. And at this point in time, yes, because there is more elevation gain in the hike I'm doing today than that hike. Now that hike is much higher, and much more beautiful than this hike, because I think every single step you've got beautiful views. There's no trees, very little trees, lots of lakes. It's absolutely gorgeous hike. But I just wanted to know if I could do and test myself, test my body, whether I could do this bit of the hike just keeps on going down. This is the longest downhill section in history. Anyway, so I just want to test myself, test my body. And the other thing I should mention is yesterday I did a 21-kilometer run, so a half marathon run, and then like a 2 or 3 kilometer walk. And that's the other thing I wanted to test. I wanted to test myself and my body, whether it could sustain two big grueling events in 2 days. And doing a 21-kilometer run is probably more grueling, and maybe even more significantly grueling than this sort of hike. But at this point in time, everything's going to plan. No complaints. I'm almost halfway through, 17 kilometers in, and yeah, my legs are saying, keep going, George, even though my name's not George, so maybe they're getting confused. Some sort of water structure here, I think. I'm assuming that they have this here in the middle of nowhere in case there's a forest fire or a bushfire, so they can just get water fairly quickly and easily. That's my assumption. I could be completely wrong, but it sort of makes sense. The reason there was a sharp turn in the trail is because it's a new trail. That sort of makes sense. So the trail just came off was considered moderate, and that was Oogie's Road, and now I am going down Creek Road. Another creek crossing number 3, but this is concreted. Boo! Boo, boo, boo. Although it is pretty nice here. But I do not like these concrete crossings. And I've got to find a way across. I think I'll just go across there. I should also mention we're 18.4 kilometers in, not we, I. And I actually did change my underwear. So I went from these Skims. I did get a little bit of chafing on my run yesterday, and I was coming back a little bit. And one of the good things I've done on this particular hike, among many good things, is I brought along a spare pair of underpants just in case. And I'm wearing, what's it called? Step 1 Sport, something or other. They are really comfortable. In fact, I'm going to have to buy more of these underwear when they're on special. So that is one thing I did right on 18 kilometers. I think we are halfway through the hike. Distance, elevation, and time. I was thinking 9 hours for the hike, so 4.5. 18.7 kilometers. So between about 36 and 37 kilometers, I was thinking. And total ascent is about, or is going to be about 2,000 meters, maybe just below that. And we've hit the halfway mark on that. So I think we are at the halfway point of this hike. And yes, I'm a little bit out of breath because we're at a bit of an uphill section. Okay, I think hopefully this is the end of the uphill bit. So we've gone from 1,000 meters of elevation from when I recorded the last bit to 1172, and I did not even start recording that bit at the creek. But this is where we are. Gold Creek boundary break straight ahead, Creek Road to the left. What have we got the sign on the other side? They do. Yeah, Gold Creek boundary break ahead. And that's the direction I'm going to go, up there. So a little bit more to go up here, but it should be the top just based off what I'm looking around. These trees, we don't see any trees higher than what we're seeing here. So this should be the end of the uphill bit, but I expect, how many more moving forward? At least 2, possibly 3 more uphill bits. Actually 3, at least 3 uphill bits through the rest of the trip. Positive things about this part of the hike is the vegetation does open up a bit, so you do have a little bit better views. So yeah, definitely a different lots of vegetation. What's that called? Flora and fauna, I suppose. I have no idea. But definitely different microclimate in this area and a little bit better views. So currently 20.7 kilometers in. And the funny thing is, I said I probably won't see another person for a long time. I have gone past now 4 groups of people. I suppose it is a Saturday, and lucky I didn't bring one of the dogs, Nala. I was actually thinking about it, but dogs are not allowed in this national park. But if it was on a weekday, I would have really thought about it, but not today. Just changed trails, but I didn't stop because there was a group of about 7 people at the intersection, and just came down a really steep bit there. So in fact, I did run down that, which can be dangerous. But I've just spotted some houses in the distance. So we must be at, this must be still Gold Creek Road. That's where I'm heading towards, Gold Creek Reserve. So we're at the, I suppose, is that the western edge of the national park? And off in the distance there, we do see a fair bit of development. So that's somewhere between Brisbane and Ipswich. Currently 23.8 kilometers, 5 hours 37 minutes. Elevation gain 1,332. I did not realize I was not in a national park. So I've been assuming I've been in a national park this whole time. But apparently somewhere I exited national park, and now I am re-entering into the Aguilar National Park. Mount Coot-tha. I was wondering why I saw a tower, and then I saw another tower, and that the realization dawned upon me. That's Mount Coot-tha. That means Camp Mountain is somewhere over there. Now it's not on the closest ridge because there's a ridge in between me and the ridge that Camp Mountain is on. So I have to cross 2 valleys and go up 2 ridges before I get back to the car. But yeah, Camp Mountain is somewhere over there. Don't know which one it is, but it's definitely, we are definitely moving towards the end of my hike. Road and massive water tank, rural fire brigade. So again, I think this is water that should be used for bushfire fighting. So I'm assuming this is South Boundary Road because it makes sense. We're at the south boundary of the park. As you can see, there is a fence there and there is a road. So this is Brookfield, is it? That's maybe not Brookfield, I forget. Upper Brookfield, that sort of area, I think. Sometimes get my suburbs mixed up, but yes, so I have been along this particular trail twice. The last time 2016, and the thing I remembered about this trail back then was it was very up and down. So I am gaining a fair bit of elevation gain just because up and down, and I know that Janine hated this trail once. In fact, we took Milo along this trail and I actually had to go back to the car and pick him up somewhere here, maybe along this road. Anyway, and also houses, getting some houses. We brought quite nice living up here, apart from the potential of fires. Elevation is 247 meters, so yeah, look at that nice house. Ooh, sweet. So this is Gold Creek Boundary Break, not South Boundary. I think South Boundary might be on the other ridge. Oh crap, that looks steep. It's supposed to be getting less steep. Time to go off Gold Creek Road. Apparently these are advanced hikes. I don't know if I agree with that. These are fairly simple, but I just had a look at my watch and I don't go that way. I go this way. If I didn't have my watch, I would have no idea which way to go, but this would have seemed a safe bet anyway. This really highlights the difference in vegetation from where I was recording at the start of my hike. You can see the vegetation, all the trees are really spaced out, so it's just a really different microclimate on this side of the ridge. The other thing is you'll notice way more sunshine here than there would be over the other side. So I did bring along some sun cream just to put on because I knew this might happen. And that's about it. So currently 27 kilometers into the hike, 6 hours and 20 minutes gone. Whoa! And I should watch because I'm heading downhill. And elevation gain 1,478 meters. So I am near the Gold Creek Reservoir because this is the Gold Creek Reservoir Loop Trail. Am I smart or what? I am really smart to figure that out. Bit of a change too, again, in the foliage. I keep hearing what sounds like a multitude of mosquitoes. I think it's just my mind playing tricks on me. Yeah, so the trail is really thin, narrow, and we are coming to a creek. Oh, that was pretty good timing. Another beautiful creek. Oh, hello, sorry. Yeah. Thank you. Look at this creek. Oh, what a wonderful creek. I'm going to go over. Get out of the sun. Oh, it's so nice. Wonder how far Gold Creek Reservoir is. We have now entered the worst part of the hike, I think. There is virtually no trail here. It took me ages to find it. I went the wrong way. And after about 5 minutes, I finally found it. Thanks to my watch again. But there is a really subtle trail here. So this is definitely by far the worst trail, the worst maintained trail. Fairly narrow, but definitely one here. So I'm really happy now because otherwise I'd have to go to Gold Creek Reserve and find another way from there. There are other tracks towards where I want to go from there, but it would have added a few kilometers to my hike. Not my favorite trail, tell you that much. Had to climb over this tree trunk. So steady up and very narrow trail, but at least there is a trail here. Very minimal use, I would say, and not really maintained, as you saw with that log. Completely, I can't even speak. Coming to the end of this crappy trail, worst trail in history, and that might be an understatement. In fact, this is South Boundary Road here. You'll go past this a million times and not realise there's a trail off the side. Yep, there it is. Where's the trail entrance? Where? Almost impossible to see. In fact, that would have happened to me if I went the other way. Would have come up here and went, where is the trail? Now, which way do I go? Now is the time to check. Oh, Looks like I go uphill. No, not uphill. Bye-bye, stupid trail somewhere here. I don't know where you are, but bye-bye. Bye. Yes, I did go the wrong way. Found out about 200 meters up. And I don't know how I misread that on the map, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Hi. Time for a bit of an update. We are at 30 kilometers. Just clicked over right now as I was speaking. So 30 kilometers done. I'm not sure how much to go from here. Would say 7 to 8. So here is, no, I can't show you the stats because I'm doing it the wrong way. Upside down stats. There we go. Anyway, I thought I sort of planned for about 4 kilometers every hour. So 15 minute kilometers. So at this point in time, 14 minutes and 29 seconds per kilometer. So very happy in that. So in America, what I'll be doing is planning 20-minute kilometers. So I'm being a little bit conservative, but I'm planning on maybe doing a little bit more stopping than I'm doing on this hike as well. Now, one of the other reasons why I decided to do this hike is just to see what could go wrong, what I might need, what I'm missing. So everything's going to plan. I might probably bring a little bit extra water. Haven't run out of water yet, but I would like a little bit extra water. Don't need as much food. That's one thing I realized. I won't be getting anywhere close to eating all the food. I've gone and ate 2 of the muffins, which I probably shouldn't have done. And that's all I need. That's all I need. And also ate 1 Killer Python Allen's lolly because they're awesome. So that's why, just planning. For instance, boots, hiking boots, are these good? Yes. Which backpack should I take? I've got a blue and orange one. I'm now preferring the orange one over the blue one, which is okay because that's a better one and a little bit bigger. And I brought band-aids just in case. Like I do have a scratch on my leg because of that stupid path or trail. It's not that bad. Brought sun cream, extra pair of underpants, which has gone wonderfully well because everything's going smoothly. My arm is getting tired. So that's it. 30 kilometer celebration segment. Okay, change in plans. 31 kilometers in. I just took a different route because I came to a little intersection and I was supposed to go to the right, but up ahead were about 40 kids and I went, oh no way, Jose. But I knew exactly where I was and I kept following down the trail I'm on right now. This is a well-trodden trail. I know exactly where this is and I know exactly how to get back to the car from here. Unfortunately, I also know it's about 9 kilometers from here, just under that now. So actually my hike is going to be more towards 40 kilometers than say 37, which I originally envisaged. So I'm not sure why there's a big discrepancy between how many kilometers I'm going to be doing and Strava and or trails. That is something I might have to think about, because if it underestimates the actual length you do, that could be a concern. Last time I came along here, I was swooped by a cockatoo twice. They had a nest just in that hollow log there. No idea where they are now. So the cockatoo swooped twice, and then I came back to get swooped again because I wanted to record it on my video. And it went, nah, we know you're not a threat, so piss off, and it didn't swoop again. Very, very disappointed. Another creek crossing. Last time we were here, I was here, this creek was overflowing the road. So obviously I haven't had much rain as we've had before. And another really good story is there was one hike I did with Milo and Nala where well up, I think it's called Hell Hole Break. I decided to follow the creek all the way to here. And it was a horrible experience. I don't recommend it. Some of the pools were really deep, but lesson learned. So I'm going to take a small break here, find a rock, empty my shoes of the little rocks, because the next uphill section is 1.3 kilometers long and about 7.8 kilometers to go before I get to the car. It ain't easy. Ain't easy at all when you've done 33 kilometers and 1,800 meters of ascent. Not easy. It was not 1.3 kilometers, it was 1.5 kilometers, but that was Centre Road. And now I go down here. I'm not sure how long. This is Mount Nebo Road, by the way, just over there, Mount Nebo Road. So this is the Mount Nebo Trail, what they call it. Here's a motorcycle. It sounds like, yeah. So I'm not sure how long this trail goes for, but this trail goes to the Bellbird Grove turnoff, and then I follow that down till Bellbird Grove, and then, which is down there somewhere, and there's a trail from there to where I parked the car. So about 6 kilometers to go. Taking a little shortcut. There's a reason behind that, because down below where you're supposed to go, it's really steep both ways, so it's way down there. So I thought I'd just take a little bit of a shortcut, and this is where you'd come out. So I am on Mount Nebo Road right now. We just had an ambulance go past. I have a feeling there was an accident up ahead, because I saw a person out on the road and then a car slowed down. So it doesn't surprise me there would be accidents here, but this is where I would have come out. And then I follow this trail down towards Bellbird Grove, but this meets up with the road just a bit further down, and then I follow the road mostly down. Hearing a fair few emergency vehicles now. Hearing at least 2 others. Hopefully everyone's okay. Not sure where this one came from, because this Bellbird Grove Road doesn't come from anywhere. Bellbird Grove Road. So about 3 kilometers and a half to go. Elevation here is 117 meters, so that means there are about 83 meters to climb. We'll say 90, which means I'm going to be very close to 1,000 or 2,000 meters overall elevation. 36 kilometers so far, and time 8 hours and 40 minutes. I cannot wait for this hike to be over. So a little bit longer than what I wanted. Good lesson learned. During Bellbird Grove, there is a creek crossing even for cars. So you can see actually water flowing across this creek right now. So I'm wondering, many times this particular Bellbird Grove will be cut off to visitors just because of this little crossing. But very nice. Beautiful, in fact. We'll say beautiful, beautiful. Now leaving Bellbird Grove and going back into National Park. So this is the path to the trail back to the car. You could go back up to Camp Mountain, but I'll take a little bit of a detour. Anyway, I just can't wait for this day to be over. Almost exactly 2 kilometers to go. My left thigh is starting to cram up a little bit. So definitely I've hit my limit, I would say. Although doing this could actually extend my limit. So a point of doing this sort of thing is to increase your endurance. But today, overextended myself a little bit just because I am cramping up. And these uphill sections are horrendous. Going flat or downhill, fine. But uphill, my legs are saying, no thank you, please no more. Thankfully, I'm near the top. And 2,000 meters of elevation gain. Yes, 2,000 meters of elevation gain. The top of this rise is the end of the uphill bits. There's a few more small uphill bits later on, but this is the end of all the uphills I'll be doing today. And my legs I think are going to thank me. Looking forward to so much to this little rise coming to an end. Oh, this is great. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's still torture, even though I know the end is near. So just around this bend here, that's the end of the uphill. Might be a slight uphill bit, but nowhere near as steep. And here we are. You can go straight here, go back up to the top of Camp Mountain. There is zero chance I am doing that. I was thinking, being a little bit more ambitious, that if I was short of 2,000 meters, I could actually go up there for a little bit, and not doing that. So about 1 kilometer back to the car, maybe 1.2. In fact, so we're at 38.35, so maybe 1.15, something like that. Switchbacks, there's 3 of them. And when I see the B stuff, 5s, whatever you want to call them. That's when I know we're at the last switch pack and not much to go. Well, there's one more, but that goes, the end of that goes to the car, so I don't really count that. We're near the end, just around this corner. You can see the gate, and there's my car. Oh, so, ooh, a little bit longer than I anticipated, even at the last turn off there. So this is it. I've survived, bruised and battered. Don't think I could have gone any further, but again, this particular hike was a little bit longer than Strava and trailing, all trails were suggesting, and elevation gain was a little bit more as well. So in the end, actually, no, I'll show you as soon as I get to the car. I shouldn't be shortchanging myself. Car's perfect. I had a fear as I was coming up. Maybe the car was towed for some reason. Not sure why. So here we are at the end, and 39.7 kilometers, 2,088 meters climbed, 9 hours, 31 minutes. So a little bit longer than I anticipated, both in distance and time, but otherwise fairly good. Now I am going to go get a Pepsi Max, not a hot chocolate, a chocolate milk. I've already got an electrolyte drink and 2 burgers. Which burger should I buy? I don't know. And yeah, I'm going to splurge a little bit right now because I think I deserved it. And I did burn through quite a bit of energy. Okay, that's it. See ya.